Video game addiction, or as it's commonly called by society, internet gaming disorder, is a major issue that is running rampant in our society. Just, take a look at these articles. This one here says extant measures before publication of the DSM-5 had several methodological shortcomings and potential biases. Well, that's before the DSM-5 added internet gaming disorder as a potential mental illness to look and research into. So, that one's kind of ugh. What about this one here? This one says, the many tests that have been developed to assess video game addiction all tend to have limited construct validity, unknown retest reliability, and potential problems with false positives and false negatives. Furthermore, the samples used to validate these tests are most often convenient samples with limited representativeness. Huh. Okay, I got one more here. And this one states, the DSM-5 explicitly points out that the literature suffers from a lack of a standard definition from which to derive prevalence data. Well, there are studies that have prevalence data. They focus on heavy video game use. It's not like that, can't be used as a basis for a diagnosis. This one even says, importantly, frequent video game play cannot alone serve as the basis for diagnosis. Well, shit. Okay, I'm gonna let you know a secret here. Video game addiction usually isn't that big of an issue, but we also don't know how big of an issue it is. It could be wider scale than we think, it could be smaller scale than we think. The problem is all the studies that involve it are, well, they're crap, really. They don't conform to the basic laws of statistics. They pick groups that aren't representative of a population. They do it just of a population of gamers who frequently use video games, who typically have video game addiction. 9 people with video game addiction out of a group of 9 people is 100%, but that's not a right survey size of at least 30% or representative of an entire population. The problem is this issue isn't going away. Lawmakers and scared mothers everywhere are still going to think that video game addiction means that children are just playing video games more than they should be, even though it's the fault of the parents for not really letting children, for not limiting their use. Problem is, since this isn't going away, we need to do something to make sure that they don't pathologize, turn into a disease. This, what is actually usually a routine behavior. So, let's get cracking on that. I actually have a solution to this. It's a nice, quiet solution. We need to go back in time to the year 1992. Mortal Kombat. It definitely changed the video game industry, I think for the better. For those of you who don't know what Mortal Kombat is, it's a 2D plane fighting game, and it comes with these moves called fatalities. They were gruesome as hell. This game was very violent. Now, there was no fuss made about it in 1992 when it first released on arcade machines, because arcades were meant for unsupervised children and whatnot. The backlash came when Mortal Kombat was released on home consoles, on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or Super Famicom if you're not from America, the Sega Genesis, Sega Game Gear, and the Game Boy. Lawmakers, they rallied together, created the ESRB so that kids would be getting their hands on these games. Alright, you're probably thinking, what the hell does that have to do with addiction? Well, remember that quiet solution I offered earlier? Yep, ESRB. Now, if you don't know, they issue out ratings. They have, E for everybody, T for teen, E10 for everybody, 10 up. M for mature and adult only. Now, with this, they also have the content descriptors, you know, blood, alcohol, sexual references, suggestive themes, actual sex, nudity, partial nudity, all that's good, all that fun stuff. Well, I'm proposing that we add 5 new content descriptors. Now, they won't affect the rating of a game. They won't affect rating. Get that out of your head. What they will affect is how parents see certain video games. It kind of puts in perspective what a child should play, what a child shouldn't play, and more importantly, it puts, emphasis on a parent to go to the ESRB website and where you'll find a nice little memo that says, yo, video games should not be played for more than 1 to 2 hours for young children. Due to the fact that video games can cause addiction. They can. It's entirely possible they can. Anything can cause addiction, I mean. So, what are these content descriptors, you ask? Well, we have our mainline one, which is escapism. You put that on a video game, parent wonders, what does it mean? They go, they look up, and that's where they find all the information that video games, you do need to limit how much time a child spends on video games. That's only 4 of them. Well, after doing some careful considerations, I basically divided video games into what is a Punnett square, where we compared video games with real themes, real peoples, real places, video games with, obviously fictional people, fictional places, fictional themes, video games that are rendered to look real, and video games that are rendered to look obviously fictional. And we combined these, made a 4x4 square, and that's how I got these content descriptors.
Bah! Stop jumping about, frog!
I can't believe it! It worked! It really worked! You flew, Ezio! You flew!
See, but not very far.
Well, what were you expecting? The machine wasn't designed for distance. All right, look, let me go over my plans here. Maybe I can find some way to extend the duration of the flight.
Ezio, my men tell me Carlo has the poison. We must hurry.
Antonio, this is Leonardo, the master inventor who built these pezzo di merda.
Hey, it's not the machine's fault. It's mine. I've checked and rechecked my blueprints. It's just impossible. I don't know how to extend the flight. Ah, che idea del cazzo!
The Covenant believe that what they call the silent cartographer is somewhere under this island. The cartographer is a map room and will lead us to Halo's control center. The island has multiple structures and installations. One of them contains the map room.
We're approaching